It's time to put an end to all this BS, bro. I'm seeing these horrible lists of the top 15 MMA GOATs. I'm really talking about Lucas Tracy. I know y'all seen the video. He said in his video that Izzy's not even top 30.
And Adesanya is a pretty good fighter. He's arguably top 30 all time.
I hate this guy. I actually hate this guy. Yo, I actually don't like this guy, bro. I don't even know why I show this guy respect ever. I don't know. I hope my mic didn't pick up anything I just said. But all I'm going to say is, you know, I don't take Lucas serious, chat. You know what? I don't want to watch this video all the time. And this is like, listen, I'm not going to be biased. Like, I know people have like a misconception of, oh, Kenny, you only like these fighters because of this. In this video, you're going to know and you're going to see that I'm being unbiased. And I'm going to tell you guys the definite list, bro. This is the actual UFC GOAT list. And to make a UFC GOAT list, you need a criteria. And this is going to be my criteria, which I feel like should be most people's criteria making a GOAT list. Number one, that trumps all, is your resume. So essentially by resume, I mean, who have you beat? How is the level of opposition? Are you beating bums? Are you beating tin cans? Are you beating niggas with no hairlines? Well, who are you beating, bro? Like, I need some legitimate competition. As well as resume and level of opposition, I also have dominance as a criteria. I feel like I want to see how you're beating them. Are you beating them in impressive fashion? Are you beating them in like, you know, are you having close split decision wins where you barely scrape wins off the guys? How are you beating these guys? Like, I want to see your dominance, and I want to see how these level oppositions are. So if you're beating the best level of opposition in dominating fashion, like knocking them out or ragdolling them, that's great. You're going to be high on this list. In addition to that, I'm going to talk about championship run or title run. Like, I want to see how much title defenses do you have? Did you defend your belt? Did you not defend your belt? How are you looking? Were you a double champ, etc., etc.? And last but not least, I will talk about losses. So I do want to see how much losses do you have? Who did you lose to? Are you losing to shit people? Are you losing to bad people? Are you losing to great people? You know what I'm saying? Losses do matter. And yeah, that's my criteria. So unlike other YouTubers, I'm going to stay specific with this criteria. I'm going to stick with this criteria the whole video. So starting off with the number 15 fighter, I have Jose Aldo. Yes, I do think Jose Aldo is a top 15 fighter in UFC history. And if you don't think so, you're wrong. Like, he has to be in your top 50. I don't care who you are. Of course, his best wins are Edgar, Chad Mendes, and the Korean Zombie. Those are probably his best wins on paper. You know what I'm saying? So this is an MMA GOAT list. So a lot of these fights were when he had that crazy run in WEC. But since this is an MMA list, I am going to include Jose Aldo in this top 15. So I do feel like Edgar, Mendes, and TKZ, you might be like, oh, they suck. At the time, they're very good fighters. So I'm going to give Jose Aldo his credit. Of course, he was undefeated for nearly 10 years. So I'll give that an applause too. And you know, see, he's a good fighter. He was dominant. When he was dominant, he was dominant. He was beating a lot of people for a long period of time, doing it in impressive fashion. Of course, Conor McGregor stopped that whole thing, but he lost to like the best. I feel like he lost to Conor. You know, he lost to Max Holloway by TKO, Volkanovski by TKO. You know, he lost to Peter Yan by TKO. He's always getting TKO by these good guys. It's a little bit weird. Of course, he lost to Mario Batista. He lost to Merab Dvalishvili. You know what I'm saying? He's losing the great fighters, so I'm not really gonna. It might look like a lot of losses, but at least it's a good people. So, like, I know the losses are going to bring him down a little bit because he's losing a kind of frequently. But that being said, he's still a talented fighter. So I will give Jose Aldo his credit. And I'll still say Jose Aldo is a top 15 fighter of all time. Now, coming at the number 14 spot, this might have, like, I feel like people don't respect this guy enough. It's Stipe Miocic. I do think Stipe Miocic is a top 14 fighter of all time. I think he's one of the best heavyweights of all time as well. Of course, he has DC twice on his record. That's probably one of his best wins. DC was a little bit older, so although it was a good win, I'm not going to say it was prime DC because I'll be lying. I'll be gaslighting. And he also beat Mark Hunt. You know, he beat Arlovsky. Arlovsky's not the best, but he's good. He beat Overeem. He beat Verdum, JDS. He beat Francis when he was like a little bit more inexperienced. So it wasn't like crazy Francis with takedown defense and prime Francis, but he still beat Francis. So I am going to count that win as impressive. So yeah, he beat some great people. Of course, he lost to Stefan Struve, which is a little bit of a person to lose to. I'll be real. I know he's 7 feet with a long neck, but like that don't mean you could lose him. You know what I'm saying? And of course, Francis Ngannou ended up knocking him out, and then JDS also beat him, and DC also beat him by knockout as well. So Stipe is getting finished by these guys a lot. Every time like he loses, he's probably getting a finish most times. Like, it's just how it is. I don't know why. So yeah, I'm gonna give him his credit. One of the best resumes in heavyweight, but you know what I'm saying, I'm not gonna put him higher than 14. But I feel like people leave him out of their top 15. Like, they forget about Stipe. Respect him, bro. You gonna respect him. I don't know. Stipe's a heavyweight. Heavyweights are good. He has a great heavyweight resume, so Stipe is definitely gonna be the number 14 spot. The number 13 spot, I got Francis Ngannou. Yes, I have Francis Ngannou over Stipe Miocic. And the fact I have him over is because names I named for Stipe, yeah, he's beating a lot of these like older generation heavyweights. Francis beat the old generation heavyweights and the new generation heavyweights. For the new gen, you've seen Francis Ngannou go in there. He beat Cyril Gane when Cyril Gane was the man, and he showed a diverse game plan there. He was striking, he was wrestling, doing all. So you beat Cyril Gane, you beat Curtis Blades twice, all right? You knock out Curtis Blades twice, great wins. Then you beat Rosenstrike when Rosenstrike was riding like that 4-fight win streak, looked great. He beat Rosenstrike at his prime, at his best. So these are all the younger guys he beat, or like the up-and-comer, the new gen. So when you're beating two gens of heavyweights, you're crazy. The older gen he beat, Stipe Miocic, when he was coming off 2 back-to-back wins against DC, brutally knocked out Stipe. Cain Velasquez was coming off a knockout win. Francis Ngannou knocked him out. JDS, people say JDS was washed. JDS wasn't washed either, because he was running a 3-fight win streak against Inovov, Tai Tuivasa, and Derek Lewis. So, like, he was running that 3-fight win streak against Derek Lewis and Tai Tuivasa. Those are still household names. And then after that, he went against Ngannou, and Ngannou just shut that shit down, knocked him out. So, JDS wasn't watched at the time, so don't try to paint that narrative. Alistair Overeem was 6 wins in his last 7 fights. The only one he lost to other than Francis, when he got knocked out by Francis, was someone named Stipe. So, he beat Alistair Overeem close to his prime as well. And, of course, just like Stipe, he beat Arlovski. So, you're seeing a lot of similar names from that Stipe beat that also Francis Ngannou beat. The only difference is Francis Ngannou knocked out all these legends in one round. And on top of that, he also beat a newer generation of heavyweights. So I'm looking at the resume and the dominance part. As far as my criteria is concerned, the resume by Francis is slightly better. And how he's beating them is better too. He's dominated them. Going there, knocking them on the first round, knocked out Stipe in the second round. That was Stipe after back-to-back victories against DC, where Stipe looked unbeatable. You know what I'm saying? And he's even ragdolling Cyril Gane. He's fucking knocking out Curtis Blades back-to-back easy. Like, it's just like, he is dominating. So based on my criteria, resume and dominance, Francis is clear. Stipe have a better title run, more title defenses, yes. But based on my top 2 criterias, Ngannou is clear of him. So that's why I have Francis Ngannou number 13 and Stipe number 14. So now you know why I'm not just placing people, all right? I'm actually going to tell you guys the reason I'm placing them. So that's the justified reason. You can't argue with facts. Coming in at the number 12 spot, we got no other than Alexander Volkanovski. So Alexander the Great, not top 10. No, this might be a hot take to some people, but like, I feel like every time people glaze a Volkanovski, they'll say, yeah, he beat this guy, but he did it 3 times, dude. Yeah, dude, it's just cowabunga, dude. If you beat someone 3 times, dude, it's just how it is, dude. This is how casuals work. Like, I'm still going to appreciate him and respect him and say he's top 12, because I do believe that. But, you know what I'm saying? Of course, his best win is Max Holloway 3 times. And he beat Jose Aldo. Was it Prime Aldo? No, but Aldo was still a good win at the time. You know, Chad Mendes at the time wasn't the best. You know, the Korean Zombie at the time, I'll be lying if I said I was prime Korean Zombie. Ortega's just not that skilled of a fighter, but he was good at the time. It was a good win for Volk. Yair Rodriguez. Like, I know on paper, like, some of these fighters, like, look like they're kind of mid. Like, what the hell? You guys are probably looking at me like, damn, Volk's resume is, like, not as good as I thought. But yeah, he beat Max 3 times, so that's cool. Not jokes aside, he beat Max 3 times, so I feel like that carries his resume. But I feel like I said, dominance is a part of the criteria. Like, do I think he dominated Max all 3 fights? No. I think there was a fight that I would argue Max won, but I'll give Volk his credit because he got rewarded the win. But other than that, he dominated everyone else. So I'm going to respect him in that sense. And I'm going to say his only losses are against Ilya and Islam, who are great fighters as well. Bro, first of all, I saw fucking Lucas Tracy put Ilya like top 5 or top 7 or ahead of Habib. Just like, this is why you don't pay mind to like idiotic creators, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. Ilya is a great fighter, but definitely not even top 15 like right now. You crazy? But yeah, like I said, great title. He has 5 title defenses too, so he's a very impressive fighter. And his losses are against good people. I just feel like he's a little bit carried by one guy on his resume, but I'm still gonna respect him and put him top 12. Now, coming in at number 11, people are gonna hate the fact that this guy's ahead of Volk, but Henry Cejudo. And I know you're going to look at me like, Kenny, what? Well, first of all, let's talk about my criteria of resume. So, Cejudo does have a better resume, name value-wise. He beat Demetrius Johnson in his prime. He beat TJ Dillashaw, who's looked at as one of the bantamweight goats. He did cut down to flyweight, but still he lost. He beat Dominic Cruz, who's looked at one of the bantamweight goats to a lot of people. He beat Moraes in his prime. He beat Sergio Pettis in his prime. Now, you already look at that. You're looking at Max Holloway. That's a good win. Jose Aldo, that's a good win. But then Mendes, Korean Zombie, Ortega, they're compared to like DJ, TJ, Cruz, and Moraes, Sergio Pettis. Like, DJ arguably has the better resume. He has the better names. Like I said, Volk's carried by that one guy 3 times, which is Max Holloway. In addition to that, Cejudo was a double champion. He had 2 belts. Did Volk try to be great and be your double champ? Yes, he just came up short to Islam Makhachev. I know you guys are like, but it's because Islam's so great. That's why he couldn't beat him. Is Demetrius Johnson not great? But he beat Demetrius Johnson. You have to beat great fighters. He went up and beat Dominic Cruz. Like, Dominic Cruz is a great bantamweight too. So I don't get the notion that like they both try to be great. The only difference is Henry Cejudo ended up being Triple C. You know, 2 belts and his gold medal. So I respect Henry Cejudo there. In addition to that, he's one of 2 male champions defending both belts. Only him and DC ever did it. So I'm gonna going to respect Cejudo in that sense too and say Cejudo's really goated for that. So that's why he's head of Volk. He did something Volk couldn't do, went up in weight, became double champion. He has a better resume, name value wise, spread across the board. He didn't just beat one guy 3 times. He beat a lot of great people, and like he defended both of his belts. Volk didn't even have the opportunity to defend 2 belts because he never won a second belt. So that's why I have Cejudo over Volk. I know people might be like, yeah, but I just like Volk's bald, dude. I like bald people better. If you like bald people better, then sure, put Volk ahead of him. But based on my criteria and my list that I'm staying true to, I have to respect the top 2 criteria more than anything in his resume and dominance. And I'm sorry, Cejudo just has the better resume in my opinion. And yeah, in the way he dominated Cruz and TJ and Moraes and even Sergio Pettis when Pettis was running a 5-fight win streak, I respect that more than Volk having that, crazy close decision with Max Holloway, you know what I'm saying? But, Korean Zombie and stuff, they're not even in their prime. So Volk did beat some good people, but I just don't feel like they're at their best, like Chad Mendes and Korean Zombie. But I feel like when Cejudo was beating these guys, they were looking like they were at their best, like based on their resume and their wins beforehand. So I respect Cejudo a little bit more. Double champ's going to carry his legacy and put him number 11. Now we are in the top 10 UFC fighters in UFC history. Number 10 spot, I got Alex Pereira. Yes, people might say it's a little too early. Maybe not, because pretty sure whatever that nigga Lucas put him like top 5 or something. So, hey, listen, number 10 spot is good then. I guess people are, I used to say this and people call me crazy, like that's too early, Kenny. But nah, I think Pereira is top 10 fighter in UFC history. Of course, his best wins against Israel Adesanya, of course. That's the only champion he beat with more than a title defense, because Izzy had 5. So he beat Izzy. That's a great win. Jan Blachowicz had 1 title defense, but, at least he was champion. That's a decent win for him. Jan's not the greatest champion of all time. And then he beat Yuri Prochazka, who had 0 title defense. Is Yuri the greatest fighter ever? He kind of beat up a little bit of washed Glover Teixeira, but it's all good, bro. Yuri's still a decent win, I guess. Jamal Hill, he beat up Johnny Walker. That's a good win, yeah. And then he beat up Sean Strickland, which it aged well because Strickland ended up beating Izzy and stuff, but that win, at the time, was just a favorable matchup, striker versus striker, so yeah. And his only loss to UFC was against Izzy, because Izzy's just a really good fighter, so I'll give him respect there. You look at his resume, you start to realize, damn, Pereira's not even all that good, but you still got to give him credit because he was a 2-division champion. Did he defend his middleweight belt? No, because it's not, he had to go against Izzy, and that's just hard to defend against. So, I respect him there, but I still would say top 10. I know people might be like, nah, he's not top 10 yet, but I do think he's ahead of Volk. I do think he's ahead of Cejudo. It's just that Izzy win is doing a lot of heavy lifting, I understand, but beating Izzy is not no easy task, you know what I'm saying? So he beat Izzy at his prime too, at his element. So I respect that. I'm gonna say Alex Pereira is a top 10 fighter in UFC history. Coming in at the number 9 spot, people are gonna hate this. This might be a hot take, but some OGs gonna respect this. I got Anderson Silva in the number 9 spot. Of course, his most notable wins is the Henderson win, the Chael Sonnen win, the Rich Franklin win. Now, I want to say something about this. Pereira, I read his resume, read his best wins. Notice how Pereira's best wins are only strikers. You know what I'm saying? Anderson Silva was challenged with wrestlers, strikers, different styles of fighting, and he excelled, and he showed that he could still win and go in there. So he didn't have favorable matchups like Pereira, so I'm already going to respect Silva more for that. Now, Silva's had the longest win streak in UFC history, so I'm going to respect him more than Pereira for that too. I know people might be like, yeah, but I just think Pereira's cooler, dude. Who fuck gives a fuck? I get it, but it's just that Silva was challenged. He still had the longest win streak. He had 10 title defenses. And yes, he did lose a lot towards the end of his career, but I'm not going to make that affect him too much because I do think he just didn't know when to quit. Tony Ferguson-esque vibe about his fucking, no hairline having niggas just want to keep fighting. But yeah, I'm still going to respect Silva, bro. And I know it's cool kind of to hate on Silva and stuff and say he's not top 10. He's definitely a top 10 fighter. I feel like not saying Silva's top 10 all time should be criminal. So yeah, I am going to say he's number 9. I am going to put Silva number 9. He's a great fighter, one of the greatest middleweights of all time. So I am going to respect Anderson Silva. Coming in at the number 8 spot, I got Islam Makhachev, my brother, my GOAT, Islam Makhachev, the future GOAT. He is number 8 right now, but in a win, he might even jump up to number 6. He's one of those people who I see why people put him high and value him because he's a very talented fighter. He's probably one of the best pound for pound fighters ever. I think size parity, I think Islam could beat anyone or everyone. So yeah, of course his best wins, Volkanovski, he did it twice. The first time 4-1, easy decision. Second time knocked him out brutally, put him to sleep. That was great. That's a pound for pound number 1 fighter back to back. And then he beat Charles when Charles was pound for pound number 3, who was coming off a win against Chandler, Justin, and the fucking Dustin Poirier. He was riding that crazy win streak, then runs into Islam Makhachev. Islam shuts that shit down with ease. Remember my dominance criteria. He's dominating Charles. In the second fight, he dominated Volk. Dustin Poirier, he beat Dustin Poirier 4 rounds to 0, and then he choked him out in the 5th round, 5-0 shutout, beautiful. The way he beat Dan Hooker wasn't even close. That's goes back to my dominance criteria. He dominated Dan Hooker, dominated Bobby Green. saying? Third longest win streak in UFC history, and he's still active, and he's doing this longest win streak in like a very hard era. It's not like the Silva era where everyone's easy. These are talented fighters that Islam has this third longest win streak against, so I'll give him respect there. And of course, his only loss to Martins, fluke loss. You know, he lost to Pantoja looking like the fucking Pantoja doppelganger. You know what I'm saying? But that shit was bullshit. So yeah, I'm gonna still respect Islam. Still say he's number 8, but you know he's gonna definitely climb this. It's just a matter of time. Coming in at the number 7 spot, I got Kamaru Usman. I feel like Kamaru Usman, a top 7 fighter in UFC history. Of course, second longest win streak in UFC history. The first longest win streak in welterweight history. You know what I'm saying? He beat Prime Kobe twice. People try to, I've seen this so much times now. People just think Kobe sucks. I feel like the newer fans don't know Kobe, and it kind of hurts me. I'm like, damn, they actually don't know how good Kobe is. They're all like, dude, Kobe sucks. Blah, blah, blah. This, that, and the third. Bro, Kobe never sucked. Like Kobe, the narrative of Kobe sucked back in the day, it just shows me you guys who's ignorant. He had the second longest win streak in the welterweight division outside of Usman at the time, running through everyone. Usman went there, finished him the first fight, and then he ended up beating him decision the second fight. Jorge Masvidal was riding that 3-fight win streak against Darren Till, Ben Askren, Diaz. Knocked out Till, knocked out Askren, and battered Diaz. And then he got the shot against Usman. That's when Usman destroyed him. And then Jorge had the short notice excuse. He rematched him, knocked him out brutally. Of course, he has great wins against Gilbert Burns as well in his title reign. He beat Prime Woodley to get the title. That's Prime Woodley when he looked unbeatable. They were talking about Prime Woodley being one of the greatest welterweights of all time very soon. And then Usman goes in there and beats him like that. 50-44. Like, what the fuck? How you going to do that to one of the GOATs? Like, arguably one of the welterweight GOATs. And then, of course, early in his career, he beat RDA. He beat Maya. He beat Sean Strickland. He beat Leon Edwards. Look at this fucking resume. Are you kidding me, bro? The only guy he ever lost to was Leon Edwards. But, like I said, he beat Leon early in his career. That's cool. And the head kick was bullshit. The second fight, the third fight was he was just cheating the whole time. Cool, whatever. Leon, get that win. He had a great draw with Hamza Chimaev. Yeah, the Hamza Chimaev win, it was a draw to me. Like, I feel like he won second and third, and Hamza won a 10-8 first round. So, listen, I'll give Usman respect. His resume-wise, his name value, I can't believe. Like, Strickland, Leon, RDA, Woodley, Burns, fucking, oh my goodness, Jorge, Kobe. Damn, bro, this guy, and he has the second longest win streak in UFC history with that kind of people on his resume, not these fucking bums like Silva, Rich Franklin, and all that shit. He's actually beating legitimate comps. So, Kamaru Usman, I'll definitely respect you, dogs. Number 7 definitely could be higher on this list. Coming in at the number 6 spot, we got no other than Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya is the number 6 spot. 12-fight middleweight win streak. Great wins. His best win, Alex Pereira. Then he beat Robert Whittaker, did it back-to-back comfortably. Not back-to-back, but did it twice comfortably. Knocked him out brutally the first fight. Second fight, destroyed him. Outstruck him every single round. Made Whittaker go 4 for 10 in takedowns. People try to gaslight Evan like, oh, dude, that was a robbery. When they know damn well Izzy dominated. But the only difference was Izzy didn't knock him out within the first 2 rounds. So they try to gaslight themselves. So like, oh, if Izzy didn't knock him out this time, it's probably close. Izzy comfortably won that fight. He beat a prime Paulo Costa, who was undefeated prior, 13-0. Was coming off like 5 back-to-back TKO finishes and then a Yoel Romero win. Like, think about that, bro. TKO Johnny Hendricks, TKO Uriah Hall, beat Yoel Romero by decision after Israel Adesanya had that lackluster fight with Romero. So Costa thought he was going to go in there and run through him, but he went in there and Izzy dominated him. Back to my domination criteria. Izzy dominated Paulo Costa, dominated Whittaker, and dominated Pereira when he won that fight. He won the first fight against Pereira, knocked him out the second round. First fight with Whittaker, dominated him and knocked him out the second round. First, the fight with Costa, dominated him the whole time through and then knocked him out. These are all dominated wins. Gaston fight, I can't really say it was dominant until the 5th round started. Then he started beating the fuck out of him. Yoel Romero was still a good win on your resume, even though Romero wasn't engaging with Izzy and just kind of like standing there like letting Izzy just tag him up. That's interesting. That was a little weird, not gonna lie, but that's Yoel Romero's fault. Beat Victoria twice. These are different. These aren't just strikers like Pereira's record. Like Pereira's record's only strikers. He's beating all these diversity. Romero, Wilkinson, fucking Derek Brunson. You know what I'm saying? Beat Derek Brunson. His run to the title was just way more interesting. Like Izzy was just doing way more than like Pereira and all these other guys, bro. And his only losses, of course, in the UFC are to Strickland, Dricus du Plessis, Alex Pereira, and Jan Blachowicz. The Jan Blachowicz loss wasn't that bad. He went up to light heavyweight for the first time, you know what I'm saying? Could barely make 205, which is kind of like a weird look. He should have took a little bit more time. He lost to Pereira in a fight where he was up 3-1, and then it was an early stoppage, so that was barely even a loss. One of his losses are like, it was bullshit. Then he avenged that really easily where he knocked him out brutally and froze him like Elsa. Strickland loss was the pretty bad loss. The only loss that was pretty significant. The DDP loss, he was outstriking DDP majority of the fight, showing good takedown defense, beating him up, but DDP is DDP. DDP has one of the best records in UFC history. So, yeah, DDP just beat DDP, got the win. So I'll respect Izzy there. But the reason people are like, why is Izzy above Usman? Probably because Usman did this. I really feel like the Pereira win's better than any Usman win. In addition to that, like they both lost their title and they both try to rematch the same person they lost it to in their next fight. Usman lost to Leon again, but Izzy knocked out Pereira. So that's why I feel like Izzy being two-time middleweight champion weighs a little bit heavier. So I am going to put him above Usman. If you like Usman better and put him above Izzy, I'm not mad at that. I just feel like Izzy just did a little bit more and they're giving Pereira, despite them having the same amount of title defenses, etc., etc. Now, we are in the top 5 MMA fighters of all time. In the number 5 spot, I got Demetrius Johnson. I see people try to discredit him because, yeah, dude, I just feel like he didn't beat anyone good, dude. So, yeah, great win against Cejudo. I'll give him credit there. John Dobson, he beat him. Benavidez, he beat him twice. That was prime Benavidez, very hard fighter to beat. Ray Borg beat him. Tim Elliott, that's a good one, too. He had a 13-fight win streak. He had 11 title defenses. This guy is one of the GOATs. I know people try to point out the fact that, oh, he's not beating anyone. It's not really his fault that flyweight was kind of lackluster, but he beat all the big names and did it in impressive fashion. So, the fact that he was dominant, the arm bars he was doing, the finishes, the grappling, the wrestling, the skill. My dominant criteria, he's dominating in. Title 1 criteria as well. He looks good in that. Level opposition, he's a little bit lackluster, but I'll still respect him in the top 5 because I really believe he's one of the GOATs, skill for skill. Even after he left the UFC, we've seen his great wins against Adriano Moraes. He had great wins against Rodtang. He had great wins in 1-2. So, yeah, as far as the MMA list is concerned, he definitely should be top 5. And anyone who says otherwise, they have no hairline, crooked ass, long neck, and they have no muscles like me because they ain't built like me. So, yeah, I gotta respect DJ. He has to be top 5 at least. So I'm going to respect him with the top 5. Coming in at the number 4 spot, I do got GSP. Now, you guys are probably going to see my old video. These rankings are switching around a little bit because I did do some thinking. You know, GSP, great win streak, you know what I'm saying? He has great wins over Hughes, against Nick Diaz, against Johnny Hendricks, against Carlos Condit, you know, Michael Bisping. He did go up in weight. He did become double champ. Did he do it against a lackluster champion, Michael Bisping? Yes, but, you know, he still became double champ, so I'm going to respect the fact that he just became double champ in general. It sucks that he didn't do it against someone good, but it is what it is. He didn't defend his belt. He didn't defend both belts like Cejudo or DC, but he still, you know, became double champ. He lost to 2 people, of course, Matt Serra and Matt Hughes. He's allergic to beating people with the name Matt in his first attempt. He only takes 2 attempts to do it. I don't know why. Don't ask me. But, you know, he avenged those losses. So I'm going to respect GSP. I feel like a lot of people have to have him in the top 5 at least, minimum, because I feel like GSP is one of the best. I feel like this might be a hot take, not putting him top 3, but you're going to see who's top 3 and you're going to see why I put him there. But GSP is still one of those GOATs you got to respect, and you always got to put in the top 5. I don't care if you like him or not, or you hate him or not. He's one of the greatest, if not the greatest for some other people, MMA fighter ever. But yeah, I am going to respect GSP with the top 4 spot. Coming in at the number 3 spot, and I'm going to explain why. It's Daniel Cormier, probably the most disrespected champion in UFC history, and I just honestly don't get why. First of all, let's talk about his notable wins. DC, notable wins against Gustafsson, against Rumble Johnson, against Stipe, against Silva, against Roy Nelson, against Bigfoot Silva, against Volkan, against Derek Lewis, against Stipe. Like, he's beaten all these guys. He was a double champ, defended both belts, just like Cejudo, one of 2 champions to do so. Now, you're probably like, so, okay, Kenny, I know he has better wins, but it's not GSP's fault. So why is he ahead of GSP? Well, if you look at GSP's losses. I know he avenged his losses, but look at DC's losses. He lost to John Jones, who's literally like a lot of people's GOAT, like one of the best. So I don't think losing to the greatest of all time is necessarily a bad loss. And he did lose to Stipe Miocic when he was a lot older. Like, he knocked out Stipe coming up to heavyweight in the first time when both of them looked great, both of them at their prime. He knocked out both of them when they're at their prime, okay? DC then beat Derek Lewis, and after beating Derek Lewis and defending that heavyweight belt, he was talking about how he has really nothing else to do in the company, but for whatever reason, he takes another rematch with Stipe after saying like he's done with the company, he's done everything he needs to do. And you can tell he was out of it at that point. So yeah, like, he lost to him when he wasn't at his prime, but I still gotta respect DC for being a double champ, a better double champ than GSP. GSP was a double champ, but GSP went up and beat Michael Bisping, which is more impressive to you guys. Let me ask you this, for people about to cry for GSP: is it more impressive GSP going up and beating Michael Bisping than not defending his belt and running away again? Or is it better if you go up, beat the heavyweight GOAT, Stipe Miocic, knock him out, by the way, not just beat him, you knock him out brutally, and then after you knock him out, you defend that heavyweight belt? Which is a more impressive double champ run? Thank you. You're going to say it's DC. So I don't blame DC for being in John Jones' division and losing to John Jones, because John Jones is one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time. So that loss is not that bad. And then losing to Stipe when you're already old and washed and past your prime, that's not bad either. So I feel like DC is probably the most underappreciated champion. I would never fully understand why, because if you look, it's all there for you to take. So I hope people actually look at this part and listen to this part through to understand why DC is actually top 3 all time. And you guys got to respect him, because I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about he not even. I have people like, top 20 or top 15. Are you stupid? Do you know what MMA is? Don't ever disrespect DC. Went against strikers, wrestlers, all the above, and he's lifting all these guys up, slamming them on the head. Respect DC. He's a fucking animal. Now we're in the top 2 UFC fighters. Coming in at the number 2 spot, I got John Bones Jones. Of course, his best wins are DC. Gustafsson, Glover, Chael Sonnen, Machida, Gone. I could keep going. He has some great wins, you know what I'm saying? He never really lost. I know that one loss he had against Matt Hamill, I think it was, with the 12-6 elbow. Those are going to be legalized, so that loss is going to be revoked. So he's really undefeated now officially, which is crazy. Why is he not number one? This man is a steroid pumper. He did take steroids. He did cheat. That's why one of his DC losses are no contest, or one of his DC wins are no contest, because they found out he took steroids after the fact. So yeah. He beat DC once, technically. So, yeah, DC only ever lost twice in his career. But anyways, my point is, like, Jones, he took steroids. So, although I respect the resume, respect him being double champ, respect all that, the truth of the matter is you're a cheater. And I feel like I shouldn't put a cheater as the greatest MMA fighter of all time. Because why am I going to reward a cheat? If I say the GOAT is a cheater, then, like, fucking, I should keep, like, it doesn't seem genuine. Like, what's that nigga's name he used to do cycling? I think it's Lance Armstrong or something. Like, dude, he got cheating, got all his titles stripped away. I'm going to treat Jones the same way. I'm not going to strip away all his titles, but I'm going to put him a punishment. I'm going to put him on timeout. Yo, you think you're the GOAT? You're not, because you cheated. So I'm going to put you down to number 2, which leaves number 1 as Khabib Nurmagomedov, the greatest MMA fighter of all time. He's the MMA GOAT. Let me tell you guys something. Whether you want to agree with it or not, this is a fact, and you can't run away from it. First of all, let's talk about the fact that people say he wasn't in the UFC for long enough. You could say that, but he has the 4th longest win streak in UFC history. So you could say he wasn't fighting MMA long enough or the UFC long enough. Well, he has the 4th longest win streak in UFC history. So if that's not fighting enough in the UFC, having the 4th longest win streak, kill me. Anyways, in addition to that, never lost. Matter of fact, not only never lost, everyone in this list, like this other, the Jones never lost too, but Khabib never lost, and he arguably never lost a round. There's a difference between not losing a fight and arguably never losing a round. People say he arguably only lost 2 rounds in his career. Do you guys know how... I don't think you guys know how, like, crazy that is. That's not normal. Like, that's the most dominant people in the world. Khamzat Chimaev, like, lost to Usman twice in 2 rounds. You know, lost rounds to Burns. These are dominant fighters. You know, Ngannou's losing fights, let alone rounds. There's people losing fights, and then there's people who don't really lose rounds and are 29-0. That's Khabib Nurmagomedov. So as far as my criteria is concerned, as far as the dominance goes, Khabib's dominance is so high that could already get him number 1. Now we can talk about his resume. Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, prime RDA, which is probably his best win ever, because if you look at his fights before Khabib, he was on a win streak, lost to Khabib. Then after that, win streak, won the title, defend the belt. RDA was unstoppable. Khabib just stopped him. Edson Barboza's a great win too. Michael Johnson's a good win. No one really talks about. Like, Michael Johnson's one of those people who can knock out the best and lose to the worst. So if he could knock out the best, he still could have knocked out Khabib. And Khabib eats all their best punches, keeps coming forward. If you don't think Khabib's the GOAT, you blame longevity. But if he wasn't around enough, he wouldn't be 4th all time with longest win streak. He has 3 title defenses. That's fucking... I know people like to bring up no title defenses. You realize, like, some of the greats only have, like, 2 more than him? Like, he fucking 3 title defenses, damn near what DC has as title defenses. What are you guys talking about? You guys don't even know what you're saying. Like, Adesanya has 5, Usman has 5, you know, Islam has 3 right now, Volk has 5. He has 3. Like, you got to realize he's not too far from all these guys. So don't even say, oh, he didn't defend his title enough. He defended his title, and every single title defense was a finish. This guy's not normal. So I am going to respect Khabib and put him number 1. And on top of all that, Jones cheated. Did Khabib cheat? Let me know when you find out, because the fact of the matter is he didn't. You could try to point to conspiracies, but MMA Guru told me this. And keep pointing to conspiracies and try to gaslight yourself. Facts point to he never cheated. Facts point to Jones cheated. Jones failed the drug test. Khabib never did. Khabib's the greatest of all time, the most dominant of all time, best hairline of all time, best aura of all time. And he's cowabunga, dude. Yeah, rock on, dude. So Khabib's going to be number 1, and this is the actual GOAT list. So next time someone asks you what's a GOAT list, send them this video. This is the legitimate GOAT list, and anyone who disagrees is just simply wrong. There's no ifs, whats, or buts about it. Respect my GOAT list and respect what I'm saying. People like Lucas Tracy don't know what they're saying, bro. And Lucas, if you ever want to debate our GOAT list, brother, let's go, brother. Let's go. Let's wrestle, brother. Let's wrestle. You don't want that smoke, because you know I'm going to cook you. You know better. You know better now, so don't ever debate me again. But that's it for me, bro. Let me know what y'all think down below. I want to see, because I really feel like I really cooked on this GOAT list. I feel like it was a matter of time, and I actually cooked. But that's it for me, though, and God bless. 2, 3.